Oh, my goodness. Thank you. Thank you very much. Dick, thank you for your overly kind and highly fictionalized introduction tonight. I don't recognize about whom you were speaking. I've read comic books that were more factual than that introduction, but nonetheless, it was pleasing to hear. It reminds me a little bit of a chapel talk I gave when I was a faculty member at Suffield Academy. I worked very carefully because I wanted it to be meaningful to the students. I wanted to say something that was on my mind. And so I delivered this address, and not so hot. So I was looking for the standing ovation. It never came. And afterwards, thank you. 25 years late, but thank you. Oh, that was on time. Good. So I saw an advisee of mine, and I went up to him and said, so how do you think it went? Do you think I was too long? And he said, oh, no, Mr. Stanley, you weren't too long. It just seemed that way. Well, friends, I want to add my warmest welcome to those of you we've already extended this evening. Looking back over 50 remarkable years, this is the perfect time to celebrate our achievements, by which I mean your achievements. Even as we cast our vision to the future and think about what Assist will mean for your children and your children's children. Thanks for setting aside the time to be with us, to celebrate with one another the ties that connect you to this program, by which I mean the ties that connect you to the people of this program. Because Assist is not a company nor an entity. When I say Assist, I mean the people of Assist. The people of Assist. Would you say that with me? The people of Assist. All right, good first try. The people of Assist. Yeah, much better. So good. All right, keep that second one in mind. We may just come back to that. I'd like to begin my remarks with a little audience participation. So, as Assist turns 50 this year, who among you has celebrated your own personal Global Jubilee? Who has turned 50 here in the audience? Ah, good. I'm not the only one. Good. Excellent. A few fellow travelers. Well, how different was life around the world in the fall of 1969? The Beatles made their final appearance in public. Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin became the first humans to walk on the moon. The Dow Jones Industrial Average closed at 800. If it closes at 800 again this year, we have something to talk about. A loaf of bread cost 23 cents, and a gas was 35 cents a liter. So life was a little different back in 1969. Also 50 years ago, in that fateful fall, our friend Brigitte, who we met earlier, and 12 other German high school students joined an organization they barely knew to attend one of 11 schools they'd never heard of. Those 11 member schools, ranging from the north in Maine to the south in Florida, from Gould to St. Andrews, with my alma mater, Suffield Academy, in the middle, were Assist founding communities. And since that time, another 5,385 student ambassadors from an additional 51 countries have excelled as Assist scholars. While we've gathered to celebrate Assist past and our accomplishments, in my work, I'm always focused on Assist present and its future. I found over the last 18 months, as we prepared for our 50th anniversary year, is that you can't separate our future from our past, our roots from our ambitious ambition for the future. Let me turn to the past briefly to demonstrate this richness and the power of our roots and how they continue to inspire our future. You heard before from Auxa about the three presidents of Assist, Paul Sanderson, Ken Lindfors, and then me. But a story behind this is that all three of us were acquainted in a way. In the fall of 1975, I was a freshman at Suffield Academy in Connecticut, the founding school of Assist. Suffield people, where are you? We're the Tigers of Suffield, not Woodbury. Black and orange, baby, you bet. Well, I was elected freshman class president that year. I think it helped that I ran unopposed. That was a strength of my candidacy. And I became Lord Master of a crowd of 35 other freshmen. This was a big wave at the school. Well, I was very excited about running, but had forgotten to think about how to govern once elected. And we have politicians nowadays that seem to do the same, I think. And so I thought, well, if I need a lesson on leadership, I should ask a leader. And the admissions people told me that all the faculty were available to me at any time, so I went to see our headmaster, who was none other than Paul Sanderson, the founder of our program. A few of you have met Sandy. He was a wild-haired man. It always seemed like he was in motion. His hair was sort of flowing behind him, and he had glasses an inch thick, so he looked like sort of a wild-haired professor. And I went to ask about leading the freshman class, and he stalked back and forth in his office and gave me great advice, which I put to only good use. I was not reelected, actually, so I'm not sure if I got much, from that speech from Paul. Also on the Suffield faculty that year was our director of studies, a wise man called Ken Lindfors, to whom I turned for advice about my academic program. So for one serendipitous academic year, 75, 76, the three of us were stalking the campus of Suffield Academy, not knowing how our lives would be intertwined 50 years hence. Well, Paul passed away in the mid-'80s. His family is still deeply involved in this SIST, and they've asked me on their behalf, his wife Gail, his 4 children, to send you their regards. The video that you saw before was produced by Paul Sanderson III. David was a member of our board, so the Sanderson family remains dear to us. Ken and Betsy were not able to travel this far at their age and in their health, but many of you who came to the States when the Lindfors were running Assist remember how kind and warm they were and how they helped you get your start. So hello from the Sandersons and the Lindfors tonight. But wait, there's more. Now, after university, Ken had kept his eye on me, and he convinced me to leave the business world, where I'd been for 4 years, and to become a teacher and coach at Suffield Academy, my alma mater. And I returned with my best friend from Suffield, who's here tonight. Andy, where are you? Where's Andy? There he is. And we ate lunch together, we coached hockey together, we drove vans too fast with children in them together. Model faculty members were we. I tried not to take it personally that Ken hired me and then left to run Assist. I'm sure it was the impetus of Assist rather than trying to get away from me that caused that. And then when he and Betsy were getting ready to retire, they invited me to their last orientation program at Middlesex School. Well, I'd known Assist students from 1975, and I was always impressed with them. They always stood out on the campus. Just such good English, good athletes, great students, fine people. But I was completely unprepared for orientation. There they were, all of them, from all these nations, getting along fabulously, ambitious, ready to go. And I just wanted to put them all in 4 buses, driving them off in the hills, and start my own school, with this group of kids. It would be a model school, no discipline hassles, Well, Ken could see how enthused I was at orientation, and so that Saturday we were at Logan Airport in Boston, wishing goodbye to all the Assist students, and he sat me down. He weakened me further by buying me a donut, which he knew I would fall for. And he looked me in the eye and he said, Bob, I think you'd be good at this work. And to have my mentor, my role model, sit there and tell me that was, you talk about a juncture of change in your lives, that was a defining point in my life, and I decided that if Ken was serious about it, I should be serious about it, and was fortunate to be appointed by the board as Assist third president. As long a tenure as the 3 presidents have had, our board, whom you met earlier this evening, is equally long tenured. Among the group of our board members, not all of whom are here, but many are here, 5 have served the Assist Board for 10 years or more. 2 others have served for 20 years or more, and a further 2 have served Assist in a voluntary capacity for 30 years. Just amazing. Thank you, Board. Well, I usually like to share some Assist stories, but it's our 50th anniversary, and I struggled to pick one story that would tell all that is Assist. Of course, I could spend hours extolling your accomplishments that each delegation does, each class has at their American schools. Every year, 90% of our class finishes their American year with honors or high honors work. Doing English full-time? Yeah, Derek, you got it, brother. In fact, in recent years, 60% of our scholars have been doing high honors work, taking honors courses, AP courses, working hard. It's an amazing tribute to your hard work. This is while you're busy on athletic fields, traveling to model UN conferences, playing violin in the chamber ensemble, and winning the hearts of your classmates, your teachers, and your coaches and host parents. I've shaken hands with numerous students who've earned academic prizes in our schools, but the ones that have impressed me the absolute most are the students who have won being the best student at their school in American history, which has happened several times. And several other students who have been named the finest student of English literature in their school. Yeah, embarrassing those poor American kids with your skills. Shame on you all. And that's all very fine, and your programmatic success was and is at the heart of the program, but those aren't the first stories that come to mind when I think Assist. I could do wedding stories alone, like the young woman from Hungary who was sponsored on her Assist year by friends of ours from Suffield and who invited me to her wedding. As I sat in a beautiful ancient cathedral on the Fisherman's Estuary in the Buddha Hills and watched her walk down the aisle, I felt transported. I hadn't been just part of her Assist year, I was part of her life, I was part of her family. Or I could talk about the young German woman whose father passed away before she was married. And so she asked her American host father to fly to Germany and walk her down the aisle as her dad for that day. I was deeply touched by the success of an orphan scholar from Moldova who lived with her grandma, and grandma's main income in life was her milking cow. This young woman became so close to her American family and excelled so much at Viewpoint School that her host family brought her back to the U.S. and helped put her through college. I could speak of the Malian girl who'd studied English for only 2 years and would record each of her classes and then go home and listen to them again. She also stayed with the Stanley family for a few days before she went off to school. And she had 2 suitcases, one with clothes and one with Malian cooking spices. And so she prepared these yogurt drinks before dinner and then prepared a Malian chicken dish. And the house was suffused with these exotic Malian spices. For weeks, actually, but still, it was a wonderful, wonderful evening. So, why have I started my remarks by looking backward if my theory is that Assist needs to focus on where we are and where we're going? And you know when I say, hey, Assist, I mean... And you know when I say Assist, I mean... Good, with conviction that time. Excellent, good. I know, I took you a little by surprise. Now you're warned. Well, when Paul Sanderson founded the program, there were very few international students in our schools. Very few, even less, on scholarship. There was no assumption that Assist scholars would become exceptional, no expectation that these kids wouldn't just attend, they would excel and they would lead. They'd be outstanding students, they'd be key athletes, they'd debate and sing and dance and play the violin. They'd change the conversation in the classroom and around the tables of their American host families. What we take for granted in Assist today was startlingly unique when those 13 pioneers boarded a Sabina flight bound for the U.S. in 1969. At the root of Assist, we have what might sound like commonplace characteristics, but they've made us the only organization of our kind in the world. We're visionary. We're also competitive and stubborn. We have identified counterintuitive and unusual ways to serve our students and our families and our schools. We're also ambitious and unselfconsciously impractical. We do it piece by piece, person by person, the old-fashioned way. It's not mass production. Over the next 50 years, we have ambitions to serve our Assist family uniquely as worthy successors to the Sandersons and the Linfors. Where Sandy entered Western Europe, we've entered Vietnam and Cambodia. Where Ken and Betsy entered Eastern and Central Europe, we've entered the Middle East and Africa. We're engaged in conversations with potential colleagues in Nepal, Georgia, Brazil, Nicaragua, and Ukraine. We aspire to attract students from countries where few are going, countries that have imperfect relations with the U.S., countries that are virtually unrepresented in the bodies of our schools. In fact, as we go forward, we want those countries that know the U.S. the least, with whom we struggle as a country. Those are the people that we should know so that if our leaders aren't finding the way, then citizen diplomats can find the way for them. Assist is thriving now, but yet we still believe that our best days remain ahead of us. Interest in Assist continues to be keen. Next year's class will be our largest ever, numbering at least 178 scholars representing 22 countries. Yeah. They'll study literally from coast to coast in the States at 82 American schools, which have invested nearly $7 million in scholarships in them. They believe in the Assist program that much. We also believe that we can and must further utilize the power of our alumni, now 5,385 strong from 52 countries. How can we influence the next Arnoldas Pranskevičius to devote his or her life to public service? Who among the class of 2020 will discover in an American school a passion for music that will lead to a pastime like Henrik's or a professional career like Ava's? How can we provide opportunities and stimulus so that alumni reach out to one another to found their own company, like Tao and Johannes? With your support and engagement, we can do all of this, and we can do much, much more. Many people claim that our world needs more tolerance, more people equipped to deal with ways other than their own. I think that's a pretty low bar to set, a terribly low bar. One tolerates a younger sibling who's being annoying. One tolerates being stuck in a traffic jam. One might even tolerate a British soccer fan. Or maybe not. But I think our world cries out for something more profound than toleration. We desperately need more understanding, more cooperation, more celebration of the ties that bind us, rather than a focus on the gaps that separate us. Appreciating and celebrating diversity is critical, and I believe discovering what we have in common is just as important. Discovering what we have in common that transcends our diversity means identifying a point of connection that become the channels through which we strive for peace, through which we aim for something well beyond tolerance, more like genuine appreciation, for replacing I and my with us and our. Assist is doing this. We've been doing this for 50 years, and we can do it for another 50 years. What we strive for never changes, but how we achieve it changes all the time as the world around us changes. And of course, when I say Assist is doing this, I mean... Oh, you bet I do. My friends, you are the people of Assist. You're the alumni who, as scholars, startled us how you touched us, and as 16-year-olds, how you changed the way we saw the world. You're the schools who have invested in our scholars, helping our scholars to grow as they left imprints on your school communities. You're the host families who opened your doors to unknown teenagers from distant lands, making them feel welcome and warm and loved. You're the donors who provided us the resources to create and nurture these relationships, to tilt the world a little bit more forcefully in the direction of understanding and justice. You are Assist. You're a constant and fair wind in our sails, encouraging us to adapt and contribute, helping us to change the landscape of relationships around the world. As you continue to believe in us, we'll continue to aspire to be the finest organization of our kind in the world. Full stop. We want not only to serve, but to serve to make a difference. Our first 50 years were remarkable, and we're determined that they serve as a prelude to what we can accomplish over our next 50 years. Members of the Assist family, we look for you to inspire us as we make Assist's second half century as significant as our first. As Assist turns 50, you heard it said several times tonight, we are beyond relevant. Our mission has never been more important than it is today. Thank you for joining us this evening. Thanks for your belief in what we do. We all believe in the Assist mission, and when I say assist, you know I mean? Yes, you are. Yes, we are. Please enjoy the rest of the evening.